John Keats was a remarkable poet. He lived a short life, but his impact on literature was immense. Born in 1795, Keats became a central figure in the Romantic movement. This was a time when poets celebrated nature, emotion, and imagination. Keats wrote with a passion that touched readers deeply. His words painted vivid pictures of the world around him. He had a unique ability to capture the beauty of nature in his verses. This talent shines through in his sonnet to the Nile. The Romantic movement changed how people saw the world. It encouraged a deeper connection with nature and emotions. Keats was at the forefront of this change. His poems spoke to the heart and soul of his readers. To the Nile is a perfect example of Romantic poetry. It explores grand themes through the lens of nature. The poem shows Keats's fascination with the ancient world. It also reveals his ability to question and wonder. These qualities make Keats' work timeless and relevant even today. The Nile River is more than just water flowing through Africa. It's a lifeline for millions. In Keats's poem, the Nile becomes a powerful symbol. It represents life, growth, and civilization. Keats calls the Nile chief of the pyramid and crocodile. This line paints a vivid picture. The Nile nourishes the land around it. It has done so for thousands of years. The Nile in Keats's poem is a symbol of creation itself. It represents the power of nature to give and sustain life. Keats' poem takes an unexpected turn. After praising the Nile, he introduces doubt. He speaks of dark fancies that creep into his mind. This shift is crucial to understanding the poem's depth. These dark fancies make Keats question the Nile's true nature. Is the river really as noble as it seems? Or does it hide secrets beneath its surface? This moment of doubt adds complexity to the poem. It shows Keats's ability to look beyond the surface of things. The Nile River has flowed for millions of years. It has witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations. Keats captures this sense of timelessness in his poem. He connects the ancient past to his present day. Keats refers to the Nile as fruitful. This word choice is significant. It suggests that the river's importance hasn't diminished over time. The Nile continues to play a vital role in the lives of millions. It's a living link to our ancient past. The poem touches on the Nile's role in shaping history. Keats mentions pyramids, an enduring symbol of ancient Egypt. These monuments stand as testaments to the river's influence. They remind us of the great civilizations that flourished along its banks. But Keats doesn't just dwell on the past. He brings the Nile into his present. By writing about it, he makes the river relevant to his time. This connection between past and present is a key theme. It shows how natural wonders like the Nile continue to inspire and awe us. The river's legacy flows through time, much like its waters flow through the land. Section 5. A modern reimagining of To the Nile. If Keats were alive today, how might he write about the Nile? Let's imagine a modern version of the poem. It might start like this. "O mighty Nile, your waters still flow strong, though dams now harness your ancient song." This opening acknowledges the river's enduring power, but it also hints at how humans have changed it. Modern technology has altered our relationship with nature. A contemporary Keats might explore this tension. The poem might continue, "Your banks still green, but threatened now by climate's change and humanity's plow." This line would reflect current environmental concerns. It would show how the Nile faces new challenges in our time. A modern version might end with hope, "Yet still you nurture, still you inspire, a beacon of life in our world so dire." This ending would echo Keats's original theme of the Nile as a life-giving force, but it would place it in the context of our current global challenges. Reimagining the poem this way helps us see its timeless themes in a new light. Section 6. Artistic responses to Keats's poem. Keats's To the Nile has inspired artists in various fields. Painters have captured the river's majesty on canvas. They've shown its sparkling waters and lush banks. These visual interpretations bring Keats's words to life in vibrant color. Musicians, too, have found inspiration in the poem. Some have set Keats's words to music. Others have composed pieces that capture the river's flow and power. These musical responses add new dimensions to our understanding of the poem. Performance artists have adapted to the Nile for the stage. They've turned Keats's words into powerful spoken word pieces. These performances bring out the rhythm and emotion in the poem. They make Keats's language feel fresh and immediate. Digital artists have also engaged with Keats's work. They've created interactive experiences based on the poem. These might include virtual reality tours of the Nile or animated visualizations of Keats's imagery. Such modern interpretations show how classic poetry can inspire cutting-edge art forms. Section 7. The Nile in Keats's time. Historical context. In Keats's era, the Nile held a special fascination for Europeans. It was a time of exploration and discovery. Many were eager to uncover the river's secrets. Keats would have read accounts of expeditions to find the Nile's source. These explorations were often dangerous and difficult. Explorers faced harsh conditions and unknown territories. Their reports fueled the public's imagination. They painted pictures of exotic lands and ancient wonders. At the same time, scholars were making breakthroughs in Egyptology. The Rosetta Stone had recently been discovered. This key find allowed experts to decipher ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. Suddenly, the mysteries of ancient Egypt were becoming clearer. Keats's poem reflects this mix of knowledge and mystery. He writes about the Nile with a sense of awe, but he also questions what he knows. This balance between fact and imagination is typical of Romantic poetry. It shows how Keats was influenced by the scientific and cultural discoveries of his time. Section 8. The Nile Today, Environmental Challenges. Today, the Nile faces new challenges. Climate change is altering weather patterns in the region. This affects the river's flow and the surrounding ecosystems. Rising temperatures are causing more water to evaporate from the Nile. Human activities also impact the river. Dams control its flow for irrigation and power. These structures change the natural rhythm of the river. They affect the habitats of many species. The Nile's delta is shrinking as less sediment reaches the sea. Pollution is another serious issue. Industrial waste and agricultural runoff contaminate the water. This affects the health of both people and wildlife. It's a far cry from the pure, life-giving force Keats described. Despite these challenges, the Nile remains crucial to millions of people. Countries along its banks are working to protect it. Conservation efforts aim to balance human needs with environmental concerns. The river that inspired Keats continues to inspire action and hope today. Section 9. Conclusion: Fresh perspectives on a timeless poem. Keats' To the Nile remains relevant today. Its themes of nature, perception, and legacy still resonate. By exploring the poem deeply, we gain new insights. We see connections between past and present. Creative activities bring the poem to life in new ways. Rewriting it from a modern perspective highlights current issues. Artistic responses show how poetry can inspire across different media. These approaches make Keats's work accessible to new audiences. Understanding the historical context enriches our reading. We see how Keats was influenced by the knowledge and mysteries of his time. This helps us appreciate the poem's nuances and depth. Comparing Keats's Nile to the river today reveals both changes and constants. The Nile still flows, still supports life, but it faces new challenges Keats couldn't have imagined. This comparison shows how poetry can bridge time, connecting us to both history and current realities. Keats's sonnet, like the Nile itself, continues to flow through time, offering new meanings to each generation of readers.